Today we're going to learn special right triangles.
Alright, today we're going to learn 45, 45, 90-degree triangles. Alright, now the basic form for a 45, 45-degree triangle is you have your right triangle, and there's your right angle. Now because that's a right angle and these sides are congruent, those are 45 degrees each. So basically, because these sides are congruent, we're going to write x and x. And now the only thing missing is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse, the rule for the 45, 45, 90-degree triangles is x root 2. So what you do is you take your x value and you attach root 2 to it. We're going to learn some sample problems now. So what this problem is asking is to find the hypotenuse. Now because this is a 45, 45-degree triangle, you know that that side is congruent to that, so that's 3. Now to find x, the rule for the 45, 45-degree triangles is that it's x root 2. And since 3 is your x value, you're going to write 3 root 2. And that is your answer for your hypotenuse. Alright, now we're going to move into some more complex problems. You see that on these sides, the x value already has the root 2 attached. So what you want to do to get, because the hypotenuse, the rule is x root 2, you're going to want to multiply by root 2 to get it. So what you do is you take 5 root 2 times root 2, because that's what you do when you attach a root 2. So that becomes 5 the square root of 4. Now the square root of 4, when you work it out, becomes 2. So that'll reduce to 5 times 2. That gives you 10. And 10 is the measure of your hypotenuse. So x equals 10. Okay, so in this problem, it gets a little more complex. Because this is the x value, and they already give you the measure of your hypotenuse, what you want to do, because you multiply by root 2, you're going to try to divide by root 2 now. So what you do is 9 root 2 divided by root 2. And when you do division, you can't have a root on the bottom. So now you're going to have to cancel them out. So you're going to multiply by root 2 on both sides. And that gives you 9 root 4 over the root of 4. Now these root 4s will turn into 2's. So it becomes 9 times 2 over 2. The 2's will cancel, and that'll give you 9. Now, the secret trick to doing these problems is, instead of doing all that work right there, to find the x value, simply take off the root, because what you do is you multiply by the root 2, and that'll give you your x. So x equals 9. Okay, so now we're going to apply what we just learned. In this picture, you have your basic square, so each angle is 90 degrees and each side is congruent. So you're going to put your little congruent marks here. Alright, and these form 45, 45, 90-degree triangles because this line bisects the angle, so that becomes 45, and that becomes 45. So now you know that that angle must be 45 to add up to 180 degrees. So now we're gonna use our little trick, and we're just gonna cancel off the root 2 there, and all these sides become 5. Now this question wanted you to find the area. To find the area of a square, you just 5 times 5 equals 25. 25 units squared is your answer. Now we're gonna learn 30, 60, 90-degree triangles. Alright, so in this, the rules are the short side is x, and to know it's the short side, it's always the line opposite from the 30-degree angle. To know it's the long side, it's x root 3, and that's always the line opposite from the 60-degree angle. And the hypotenuse is simply 2x. Those are the rules for a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Okay, now we're going to show you how these rules apply. You know that this side is your short side because it's opposite from the 30-degree angle. And you know that this is your long side because it's opposite from the 60-degree angle. Now, the rule for the long side is to add root 3 to your short side value. So this will become 4 root 3. and that's what x is. So x equals 4 root 3. Now, since you know your short side value, and the hypotenuse rule is 2x, you're going to multiply your short side value by 2. So 2 times 4 gives you 8, and y then equals 8. Okay, now we're going to get a little more complex. Because this is your long side, because it's opposite from the 60-degree angle, you would attach the root 3 in the rules. But since there's no root 3 attached, you can't use the tricks. So what you do is you're going to divide by root 3. So 9 over root 3. Since you can't have a root on the bottom, you're going to multiply. And you're going to get 9, the root of 3, over the root of 9. The root of 9 becomes 3. So it'll be 9 root 3 over 3. 9 and 3 will reduce to 3 root 3. That becomes your x value. So 3 root 3 is that side, and since we know that the hypotenuse is 2 times the short side, it will simply be y equals 6 root 3. So now we're going to apply the rules. Here you have the regular hexagon, and to find the angle measure, the interior angle measure of a regular hexagon, you could do n minus 2 times 180 over n. N is the number of sides, and this becomes 120. So now that you know that this angle is 120, and that divides it by 2, so that's the 60-degree angle. And 60, 90, and 30, so we're going to draw that triangle right here. That's your 60, that's your 30, and that's 6, and there's your 90-degree angle. Now you know that this is the long side because it's opposite from the 60. And that's your short side because it's opposite from the 30. So, because your long side measures 6, you're going to take 6 over root 3 times root 3 and that'll become 2 root 3 simplified. So now you know that this side is 2 root 3. And that's your short side measure. So what you want to do is for your hypotenuse, you're going to get 4 root 3. Now, what we want to do is find the area of the hexagon. And to find the area of the hexagon, it's 1/2 times the apothem times the perimeter of the shape. So, we know what the apothem is. The apothem is this shape, is this line right here, and that bisects this side. So since this side is 2 root 3, we can multiply that to get the entire perimeter. So, area equals 1/2 times 6 times 2 root 3 times 12. So that'll become 24 root 3. So now it'll be 1/2 times 144 root 3. And that becomes 72 root 3. And that is your area. That's how you apply the rules. Alright, we're here in the subcap. We're going to apply 30-60-90 degree triangles to real life. We know that this is a 52-inch TV from here to that diagonal. Now we want to see if this forms a 30-60-90 degree triangle when you divide it in half. By measuring, we found out that this side, the short side, is 26, and this side, the long side, is 46. Now we want to see if those rules confirm. So we're going to take 26 and multiply it by 2, and that gives us 52. Then we're going to say 26 and multiply it by root 3, and that gives you 46 approximately. That proves that by dividing this TV in half, it gives you a 30-60-90 degree triangle.